I've finally done it. I've finally started my very own video game. I've been playing video games since I was like 5 years old, and I'm about to turn 25 this year. Actually, in about a month at the time of this recording. The types of video games, of course, that we all grew up with was like Sonic and all the older school games. We all already know that. But my favorite growing up had to have been shooter games, survival games, working games, and games about like saving the world or playing different things like Minecraft and just basic open world type of games. And of course, there was other genres too, but those were some of my main favorite ones. Open world that allows you, the character, to basically do whatever it is you would like to do. Of course, still have a storyline and characters you can really start to get to understand, but still have an open world experience. But for me, there was always something missing. Never knowing exactly what it is or how to find a mod to change them specific aspects of each game that I enjoyed nowadays. So I have finally decided that I want to take some specific things from only some of my very few favorite games and slowly piece them together to make my very own love child of a game. Taking all the really good aspects that I love from all the different games I've grown up playing and even games that I'm playing nowadays and adding them into one big project and trying to make it like my own type of game that I could possibly even release, out to the public for everybody to enjoy. And what's the best way to get something like this out into the public for everybody to see? YouTube. So we're going to do game dev videos and a lot more in depth of what we're actually doing later on. This is just basically my intro video. So if this game does interest you and you guys want to follow along with things that we were doing, definitely make sure to hit the subscribe button, like button, stick around, and we will be going more in detail on some extreme stuff into Unreal Engine 5. The first one being The Last of Us or The Last of Us 2. You guys probably seen that one coming, honestly. The style of the game is honestly beautiful. And not only just the actual style, but how they wrote each storyline for each character, good or bad. So each good and bad character, how they wrote it was amazing. They made you feel for each character. The heartfelt storylines, the beautiful aspect of each level. It's just something that I want to add to my game. A lot of games like to add a bunch of stuff to the games, or a lot of places, or a lot of game devs like to add a bunch of really cool stuff to the games, but they never make it look pretty. And some games have their own aspects of prettiness or their own aspects of whatever, but this game just looks phenomenal, especially if you play it on PC where you're not limited. And this isn't me going after console players. I play console also. This is how I know specifically, but going from console to PC, different hardware and everything, if you play that game on PC, it looks magnificent. My computer is not a weak computer, and it had issues running it because of how high quality everything was. And that's what I love. And I want to add that to my game. And of course, the whole storylines of each character. I am thinking about storylines. I am writing stuff, and I'm trying to come up with a good story, a good intro to how things happen. I am trying to write. I'm not much of a writer. I'm not good with this stuff, but I am trying my best. So if there's anybody out there that would like to help with some writing, feel free to reach out to me. That would be amazing. But I would like to actually add some really in-depth, detailed storylines between different characters. And I'm going to do my best not to make it exactly like that game, of course, but make it my own style. And of course, this is not the last game that I'm going to probably mention over all my game dev videos and everything, but the second one of my inspiration, is probably Vane. You guys can find this on Steam, and you guys have probably seen it recently popping up all over YouTube from like last year all up until now. It's been going kind of crazy, and that's actually how I found out about it. I'm in the middle of making my game, and I'm probably a couple months into my project, and I see something popping up on YouTube about an open world survival zombie game, which if you guys don't know yet, is exactly what I am making. So I was intrigued and I started watching it, and next thing you know, I'm down a rabbit hole of watching people play this game. So I jump on Steam, I decided to try it out myself, and what do you know, it is a very good game. And I just realized while I'm in the middle of making my project and making my game, and I see this gameplay, I'm realizing there's a lot of aspects that I'm wanting to add to my game that you can also find in this game. So of course, I'm going to take inspiration from this game alone, add my own stuff into it, of course, and add things from a bunch of other different games. And I did mention that it was going to be open world, but I don't mean medium to small open world. I don't want you to be able to walk across the map within 5 to 10 minutes. I want this to be a massive open world experience. I want my map to be where you have to walk for an hour or more to get to the other side, having constant things to do, constantly being able to go to different locations, explore, loot, go into secret places that no one even knew was there. And of course, during all that, I'm going to be adding cars, horses, and a bunch of other stuff that you will be able to get into or ride. Hopefully, I'm not getting into the horse because that'd be really messed up. But if you decide to go the route of never using a car or never using a horse, of course, there will be a nighttime where everything becomes a lot more dangerous, a lot more fast, and pretty much all around more aggro. So you might want to think about finding better ways of travel. And of course, everybody knows about the old school Call of Duty zombies all the way up until I would consider Black Ops 2 being more of an older school or more of a classic zombies. Black Ops 3 was okay, and like Black Ops 3 Zombies was okay. Black Ops 4 not so much. I didn't mind it, but it wasn't the greatest one. And I'm going to basically be taking inspiration from a lot of the older ones and taking a little bit of snippets out of there that I'm not like, something that I think would fit into my game. I'm going to try to find the best way to do so. And for me, it's thinking like the perk system, taking the perk system and changing it up a little bit and just adding different things around the map that you should be able to find or use or loot or even trade for or buy or sell from a clerk or somebody you can find around the map. They can be able to give you buffs just like, the perk systems in Call of Duty Zombies. But of course, we want to make that more rewarding and more expensive too, because it wasn't very rewarding in Call of Duty Zombies. It was nice to have them, and it was definitely a necessity. But once you kind of got hit a couple times, you pretty much was down no matter what you got. So let's make it more rewarding in my game. And when I mean by inspiration, I mean slight ideas to help spark up my own creativity, not just ripping and reskinning things from other games. I know a lot of companies do that, and a lot of companies will or won't, admit to that. But a lot of people can tell you that 100%. A lot of people that can get into the game files of different games. A lot of places just rip things from other games, assets, and like models and everything else, and they just reskin it to use it. When I say I want to take inspiration from these other games, I'm wanting to take what they have, think about it, and rework it into my own way. Whether it's buying my own assets, making my own assets and textures, buying sounds, making sounds myself. I want to go ahead and just use that as inspiration and to spark up my creativity. And a pure example of that is in my game right now, which by the way, I don't have much in it right now. I'm still in the testing phase of adding different features and everything. I own a pew pew, to say, for example, and I wanted a gun sound or something to pick up or make a sound of metal clinking or whatever when picking up certain things like weapons. And as of right now, I'm actually messing with sound design, trying to figure out what I could do. And so I used my own pew pew, and I was, racking it and chambering it and doing a bunch of stuff into the microphone and messing around, changing the pitch, changing the speed, and overlapping different sounds to make a sound of picking up metal or picking up something clanky like a firearm. And now, so let's get into the progression of my game so far. And I know it doesn't look like I have much to show for, and that's pretty much true. I don't. I've spent months, and by months I mean probably a good 5 months working on this game already. But of course, some tragedies have to happen. I don't have a NAS or a network attached storage. I don't have any of that. I used to, but I don't anymore. And I don't feel like I want to pay for massive online cloud storage. Plus, my internet isn't the best, so uploading a massive project onto the cloud would take probably my entire week that I work through at my actual real-life job. It would take that entire time probably to upload actual projects. So all of my stuff was saved to my actual hard drives, and it was a brand new drive. Everything was running fine and everything, and I started having issues, and I didn't know what was going on. At this point, I had my entire open world map, which, yes, it took you at least up to an hour to run across. I actually purchased it for almost $100 and something on the Epic Games Store or the Unreal Engine Store, whichever you want to call it. It's in the same place. I purchased the map on there. I've purchased a couple of zombie skins, zombie textures, sounds, a bunch of other different things. I've reworked a bunch of the UI stuff, which by the way, I don't even think I have footage of this because I can't find it on my Twitch. But I had a bunch of stuff done. I had AI zombies that could run towards you, attack you, kill you. You can kill them. They could hear you, they could see you, they could hear your gunshots. You had items you could pick up. There was a bunch that I had implemented into the game. And then my hard drive failed. And of course, out of the 6 different drives that was in my computer, the SSDs, the M.2s, and the massive storage drive, the actual hard drive that was in my computer, It happened to be the hard drive, which is where my files were stored at. And of course, that means I lost everything. And with that massive setback, I decided to go ahead and restart. And this was only about 2 months ago, or a month and a half ago, I decided to restart. I went ahead and started reworking the inventory system, essentially, because in the original, when I had everything in there, I had this massive open world game you could literally play for an hour or two if you wanted, and you could just go around hunting zombies. But the only thing that I didn't actually have was an inventory system, and I would have to rework the weapons and rework them how they work as integers or a bunch of different things, and I had to rework all the weapons I already had in the game to work with the inventory system. So instead of doing everything backwards, when I decided to restart and go ahead and do this inventory system, which by the way did take a good long while just to do this little simple system, something else happened along the way. As I was messing with other inventory systems, I was adding a separate inventory system for the player from another person I was watching on YouTube, and something messed up. I went to go delete it and I accidentally deleted something different, which means it removed the dependencies from other files that were relying on other files, and it basically messed up the entire inventory system. And no matter how many times I pressed Control Z to go back and to replace everything, it wouldn't bring up the dependencies. It wouldn't reinitialize the dependencies in other areas, other blueprint classes and other blueprint actors and a bunch of other stuff. It wouldn't reinitialize them. And at this point, since the inventory system was essentially already done for the most part, there were so many different places that dependency probably could have been removed to or removed from. It would have taken me forever to get it back to the way it was supposed to be. So I went ahead and restarted for the third time. And that's where we're at right now. We basically are reworking our inventory system, making it better this time, hopefully that is. And as we're doing the inventory system, we're also going to be doing the weapon system along with it, since the weapon system mostly relies on the inventory system. So I'm going to make it to where you can drag and drop the weapons from your inventory into the player character's inventory where you can put weapons at. So of course they need to work fairly well together. And on top of that, in the first two renditions of my game, of course it was either all first person or it was all third person. And now I have it to where you can switch between either or. In this game, you will have to be in first person to pick up items because I'm having an issue and a bug with something that I cannot figure out. So you will have to be in first person to interact with stuff, like interacting with people, items, doors, anything in general. You'll have to be in first person, but you should or will be able to shoot in third person and first person. But the interaction system will be in first person until I can get these bugs fixed. And so yeah, that's going to be my introduction, essentially. We can go ahead and show you guys what we're going to be using. So as of right now, of course, there's a couple of different things I am using. We're using Smart AI. That is going to be a basic entryway into some of our zombies. They have a huge pack here, essentially. It has a bunch of different stuff into it. It's very, very deep in detail. You got to mess with it a lot before you can full on. God damn. You got to mess with it a lot before you can full on get it to where you probably actually want it. And the next big thing which I purchased was Battle Map. This thing right here is literally a Battle Royale style map. It is like a massive island that has a bunch of different things on there. When it comes to individual smaller islands, it is about 16 kilometers wide, or the thing on here says 16 km squared. So basically it's huge. There's 15 different settlements or neighborhoods, towns, barnyards, piers, docks, industrial facilities, and military compounds spread out this entire map. It is huge. There's 16 different levels streaming, so of course it's optimal for performance. I do have a pretty decent PC, but 90% of the time I'm recording and sometimes streaming and doing a bunch of other stuff while I'm playing on the map, and it really doesn't get that laggy. So it's going to be really good for performance. They already have had everything, of course, fixed for performance. So I don't really have to do much on it. I can if I really want to, or I can adjust the stuff for the performance. But I really don't think I need to. And of course, it already has roads and networks and everything, so you can actually travel on the actual roads or pathways throughout the woods and everything else. And of course, it already has a water blueprint in there, so I really don't have to do much. And of course, I'll probably use their screenshots from the Epic Games marketplace to actually show you guys what we're talking about. But it is beautiful. The place is honestly beautiful. And of course, we actually have a zombie pack. Of course, I'll leave all these down in the description below, along with all the screenshots and places you can find all these things. We're using an actual zombie pack that has a built-in AI, which the AI is very laggy, so we might not use that. I might rebuild my own zombie UI again. but it sucked and I hated doing it because it was very confusing and very painful. And of course, we're using a couple of different military weapon packs and everything, and different food packs, mega scan packs. We got a bookhead monster, so there's a monster or a zombie that has a book on its head. Of course, I've purchased all these things, guys, unless they were free for the month or whatever. So if you guys want to use them yourself, they might be free at the time you guys are watching this in the description. You can find everything down there. They might be free. They might not be free. I have no idea at the time. I don't really think I got much for free. I think there was a lot of stuff that were paid that I ended up buying. And then my next big thing I really want to get into is, of course, Blender. I do have Blender installed on my computer, and I've been watching a lot of videos on how to reskin, retexture, and remodel a bunch of stuff, where I can take models from other packs that are already like downloaded or that I've purchased, and I'm going to add stuff to the zombie's skin. I'm going to change how big or small they are, how many broken bones they got, how their faces ripped up. I want to add a bunch of different versions of zombies. And that's going to be a lot of work too. And if you guys would like to see, of course, sped up versions or time lapses of me doing all this stuff, let me know, and I will definitely be sure to make separate videos of just long time lapses of us doing this. So if you guys have any more ideas or things that I should add into the game, or you guys want to be a part of the game, you guys can let me know. If you want to do voices for the game, or if you have any ideas for the game, or if you just straight up want to help, I want to let you guys know now that I'm not expecting this game to blow up. I am not expecting to make millions off this game. This is just a passion project for me. And I don't really have a bunch of money. I'm not rich. I work full time, 4 to 5 days a week, 6 days a week, depending on whatever they want me to do. So I'm not constantly working on this. It's just basically whenever I can. So if anybody does want to be a part of it, or does want to help by making models, making textures, making sounds, rigging, animations, if anyone out there does want to help with this, feel free to do so. Feel free to reach me out. I'll put my Unreal Engine email down below. I have a specific one specifically for this type of stuff. So if you guys do want to reach out, feel free to do so there. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Of course, put all the details and all the things you want to say down in the comment section. I will be sure to 100% read everything. And thank you guys for watching.